This experiment immediately follows after CT1, in which you had to develop transfer function models with respect to manipulated input and disturbance variables for the system of a dynamic model of heater-mixer setup, using open loop and closed loop step test data. The aim of this experiment is to use the transfer function models developed for tuning PI and P controllers using method of direct synthesis, and using process and controller transfer functions predict the expected closed loop behavior for step change in the set point and the disturbance variable. Let us now take a look at the setup that you will be using. On the top right hand corner is the power box and the controller knobs for the system. At the bottom right hand corner is a pump provided to pressurize the water. The flow of water into the CSTR is controlled by the pneumatic control valve. Next, we have a flow meter which measures the rate of flow of water into the CSTR. The flow meter is of the rotameter type and it belongs to a class of meters called variable area meters, which measure the flow rate by allowing the cross-sectional area traveled by the fluid to vary, causing some measurable effect which in turn is measured by the instrument. In the middle of the setup is a pneumatic control valve which controls the flow of water into the tank. Control valves are valves used to control conditions such as flow, pressure, temperature, and liquid level by fully or partially opening or closing in response to signals received from controllers, which in our case comes from LabVIEW. On the top left hand corner is the CSTR with the heater coil and the temperature sensor. The disturbance variable in our case is the flow of water and the set point is the temperature of the water. The manipulated variable for control effect is the heat added to the system through the heater coil. Let us now take a look at the screenshot of the LabVIEW interface that you will be using. First, select the file path into which you will be saving your data values here. The value of the disturbance variable and the manipulated variable can be set from here. The up arrow increases the value and the down arrow decreases the value. This graph here plots the instantaneous value of the temperature of the water coming out of the tank. The flow input to the tank can be seen plotted in this graph. The instantaneous values of all the variables can be seen on the top right hand corner of each graph. Let us now talk about the procedure to be followed when performing this experiment. Before performing this experiment, you should go through the video titled Philosophy of Process Controls and understand the importance and application of the experiment that you are performing. Now go ahead and understand the setup and the role each equipment plays and its importance. It is very crucial to realize how each equipment functions and the effects they have on the outcome of the experiment. You may be asked to explain the same by the faculty or the TAs. Next, start up the equipment and let it reach steady state. Steady state is a state at which the height of the tank reaches a steady mean value and all the instantaneous values fluctuate around it with a normal distribution. When the system reaches steady state, give a positive step change of 2 units from the existing value using LabVIEW and wait for the system to reach a new steady state. Now, give a negative step change of 2 units and allow the system to reach a new steady state. Please note that the effect of the step changes on the instantaneous height is being saved as values in the text file you had selected at the start of the procedure. The next step in the experiment is to give a positive step change of 2 units to the set point, which is a servo problem. After a steady state is reached, now give a negative step change of 2 units to the set point. Your experiment is now completed. Switch off the apparatus and mail the text file with the values to yourself. Next, using the data file, try and design a P or a PI controller by fitting a first or a second order transfer function using fminCon or any other alternative function in MATLAB or Scilab, and then using method of direct synthesis. Finally, simulate the experiment in MATLAB and using the controller that you have just now developed, give a positive and negative step change of 2 units. Report the results obtained in the form of graphs and compare them with the experimental results.